Well, I can forget about trying to catch Nimashira, alleged green comet, setting here in the west in an hour or so, because the sky is inundated again. As you can see, I won't be able to see anything at the horizon after the sun sets. I have been trying to catch this comet for a week now, but have been unable. Now, let me go over a few things to help you understand where I stand. We, since our youth, have been programmed, i.e. conditioned, to think a certain way. With no review of logic, we have been programmed to instantly believe, memorize, and regurgitate everything we are told by someone in a white lab coat or in authority. We do this without knowing, to the best of our ability, to memorize and then regurgitate for a test or quiz or amongst your friends, trying to act smarter than one another. We have been programmed to think it's dumb to stand on a level and stationary surface, while it's okay to believe you are standing sideways and upside down on a giant spinning ball due to a supernatural, godlike force, power, energy, or thing they call gravity, which they change the mechanics of routinely. Okay, they don't go by Newtonian gravity anymore, they go by Einstein's version of nonsense. One thing you must do in life to achieve greatness is to learn to differentiate between real scientific physics and theoretical physics. The globe, the giant spinning ball, is based entirely on theoretical physics. Theoretical physics of gravity. A force, power, energy, or thing that pulls, holds, or curves us down to the outside surface of a giant spinning ball. Yet, to date, they have never directly detected gravity itself. They have never identified gravity itself. They cannot isolate gravity itself, and they will never harness gravity itself. Now, if you want to say we have harnessed gravity by timing how fast a rock falls, that is illogical. Therefore, you are being illogical. That is not gravity itself. That is the speed of matter falling down. And falling down is not a phenomenon, okay? Now, if objects were just floating in the air and then falling down, that would be a phenomenon. But an object at rest on the ground is initially where that object came from, and it will return. It requires physical matter to exert force, power, or energy to pick the object up. While you maintain that force, power, or energy, the object remains in your hand or off the ground. When you withdraw that force, power, or energy, it has no choice, being more dense than the surrounding air, but to fall through the surrounding air back to the ground. Now, this object will not return to the exact same place from whence you picked it up. That is illogical. But it will return to the earth, the nearest portion of the earth, from the location you have taken it to. Now, it isn't hard to understand why we think the way we do. We have been programmed since kindergarten to not actually employ logic or personal reasoning. Okay, we've been dumbed down to instantly believe everything our teacher told us. And she is, or he is, only doing the same thing while they stand in a classroom regurgitating everything they were told, that they instantly believed, memorized, and regurgitate to get their teacher certificate or get a PhD or what have you. It is illogical to put theoretical physics over real scientific physics. Theoretical physics of gas in layers or bands having the ability to maintain a fixed curve. When you look at globe Earth animation, they got layers of atmosphere around it in a circular manner. We know real scientific physics prove that gas cannot maintain a fixed curving state unless you confine it in a container like a balloon. Do you understand? That is the only way we can demonstrate gas to have or maintain a fixed curving state. The things they teach us are ridiculous to many degrees in magnitude. Gas cannot curve like that. And even worse, gas cannot maintain any equilibrium next to a vacuum. When I say vacuum, pertaining to outer space, this is an infinite, an expanding 10 to the negative 17 torr vacuum universe, which is, I would say, 1,000 times more void of air, more powerful than any vacuum we can make on Earth. To make a vacuum, the number one requirement is a container. You cannot achieve or demonstrate a vacuum without a physical container to remove the air from. And gas fills vacuums. Gas cannot maintain its equilibrium next to a vacuum. The gas will go into the vacuum immediately, unless there is a barrier that separates that gas, that oxygen, from the vacuum. Now, when they show you globe Earth in outer space, covered with the ionosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, they have that right in the vacuum of space. Okay? The vacuum would, I'm going to use the word suck, because that is what happens. Suction, the production of a vacuum. How? By the removal of air to force fluid or matter into the vacant space. Outer space, according to scientism, is an infinite and expanding vacant space, billions of light years across. It is all asinine, just as them showing you the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans maintaining a fixed curving state on its surface for 25,000 miles in circumference. Yet you cannot show me water in volume in any open body, container, or cavity maintaining a fixed curve on its surface. That is impossible, because water in volume is not malleable. You cannot shape water. It is not like clay. Fill a tub with water and run your hands through it. It is super unstable and will run through your fingers and settle back in water in volume, water in mass in the tub, and be flat on its surface. The only thing that can interfere with water in volume seeking and maintaining its level is wind that blows on the water and creates waves, or currents within the water that flow and create waves. Now, go learn what abyssal plains are. They cover 50% of the oceanic floor, and they are the flattest terrain or topography on the Earth, and they comprise 50% of oceanic seabed floors that annihilates a spinning ball 25,000 miles in circumference. Okay? The theoretical physics that we are taught, once you become familiar with them and put under any degree of scrutiny, they fall apart. They're ridiculous. It is wholly ridiculous. Now, to interrupt briefly, this is my burning blue 2-watt laser that can light most material on fire. According to the color, some colors absorb light, others reflect it. Beautiful laser. I destroy criminal insects with this light. Anyway, back to reality. If you pick up an object anywhere down there on this backyard and walk 10 feet and withdraw the force, power, energy you exerted to pick it up, it will fall back to the earth, because that's where it came from. And no, it will not fall or return back to its original spot. Matter isn't sentient. It has no force, power, or energy of its own to exert, produce, or generate to go anywhere but down, to return from whence it came. All matter comes from the earth and will return to the earth. The earth is like the audience where you are seated and you look up at the screen to see the show, the sky, which is premiering chemtrails right now. But that's what the earth is. It's the ground floor to all physical reality. 99% of stuff in the sky outside of the firmament, and I don't mean anything is outside of the firmament, everything is within the firmament, but the firmament itself is solid. But in the expanse, the sky, most things are comprised of electricity, magnetism, plasma, water, and differing gases of differing density. Now, you can get solid objects like ice. The Bible talks about hailstone coming down like rocks. Yes, water can turn into a solid object. It's the only one that can exist in 3 phases. Now, the earth is the ground floor. The sky is the ceiling. The earth is ground zero for all physical matter. It is not a giant spinning spherical water world space ball. Do you understand how much force, power, or energy it would require to keep matter? A quintillion gallons. See that? That returned back to the earth, the leaf. It came out of the ground and through the bush and fell back to the ground from whence it came. That's real science, scientific method. Now I lost my train of thought. Let me pause and regroup. Yes, do you understand how much force, power, or energy it would require to keep over a quintillion gallons of water on the outside surface of a giant ball? And to add insult to injury, a ball that was spinning faster than a bullet at the equator, 1,038 miles an hour, of which we feel no centrifugal force whatsoever. None can be directly detected at the equator. You can hover a drone at the equator and you will observe zero drift. Okay? If a bullet leaving the barrel of a gun suffers the Coriolis effect and will miss its target because the target is still attached to a moving earth, then hovering a drone at the equator would yield the same results. The drone would be independent of the Earth's rotation, just like they say a bullet is independent of the rotation of the Earth once it leaves the barrel of a gun. Yet no drone, no hovering helicopter can exhibit or demonstrate a moving Coriolis effect Earth. We are taught gross lies from a young age. We are indoctrinated and programmed to instantly believe, memorize, and regurgitate everything they tell us. Think back. You offered no logic, no review to independent thought. You just nodded your head up and down and tried your very best to memorize everything you were told, writing it down, writing it on your shoe to look at later for a test, or somewhere, somehow you could get away with cheating on a test to appear smart later. That is not smart. That is not intelligence. That is programming. Okay? Information that you instantly believe is programming. All right? You have a right to think for yourself, to consider the matter. And I suggest you do so. The flat earth phenomenon cannot be deterred. I will not stop. I know the truth, and I don't care who I'm among. Friends and family from years ago. If someone asks me, hey, this guy thinks the earth's flat, I will take the floor and prove it. With real scientific physics that destroy theoretical physics of gravity, of space-time, of curving gas, of vacuums where gas don't fill vacuums. It's asinine. Time is not a thing. Time has no presence in substance of matter. It's a concept. We made it up. We live in the constant present. Every moment or second, forgive me, is the constant present. It doesn't acknowledge when the sun sets or rises. It's always the constant present. There's no such thing as yesterday. Yesterday is just a word we use to remember previous acts accomplished. We say tomorrow to plan for acts we wish to accomplish. They're just words. I'm out of time. God bless. Jesus loves you. I promise you he does. Yeshua HaMashiach.